Hello, everybody. Well, I'm going to tell you my story of how my Aunt Marcia gave me the gift of understanding the value of life. So my Aunt Marcia was born in the 1950s in Baltimore with Down syndrome. Prognosis was very bleak with the doctors. They said she would never walk, never talk, never learn to read, never write. And they strongly suggested that my grandparents, who already had a child, put her in an institution to live out her very short life. Despite this news, my grandparents decided we've got to give her a shot and wanted to bring her home. From that, they joined with other parents in a small organization and decided to face this challenge together. From there, they poured into her. They encouraged her, they tirelessly worked with her, and gave her every opportunity to meet those so-called unreachable milestones. In her case, she did end up learning how to walk, how to talk, how to read, how to write, and even how to count. It was truly miraculous. We also learned that she had an uncanny memory. Everyone benefited from this memory. She would often read the TV guide and the phone book to everyone's delight, because you could simply ask her, "What's on NBC at 7 on Sunday?" and she would easily be able to tell you that information. You could ask her for any family's name or any family's number by giving them their name, giving her their name, and she would recall the number without question, without error. Many people benefited from her memory, not just the family. One of the things that she absolutely loved doing was recognizing people for their birthdays. You could simply, in passing, tell her that you were going to celebrate so-and-so's birthday, and she would recall that memory for years and say, "Oh, be sure you say happy birthday to your friend." And that was like 4 years ago that you told her about that person's birthday. People felt so special that she would think of them on their day. Eventually, I came along as the first niece to my aunt, and of course, I was treasured. She doted on me and quickly became my best friend as I was growing up. My aunt was relatively short. She always had a perfectly permed head and pretty much lived in athleisure wear. I often remember her walking around with her shorts with the lines down the side, just stretching them out proudly displaying her outfit with her tennis shoes. She was also an amazing athlete. No one could beat her in duck pins. And one time I thought it would be funny to hide her duck pins because that's the only way that I was going to beat her. She did not find that amusing. But she did teach me one of her first lessons, which was immediate forgiveness. She had an ability to unconditionally love. She was always happy, and if there were any times of sadness or disappointment, she stayed right in that present moment and let it pass. It was just matter of fact, it happened. Couldn't do anything about it, and time to move on. That was another amazing lesson. It's something I draw on frequently, because of course we all come up to things that can't control. You know, they're outside of anything I can do, and so I do draw back on that lesson. Another lesson that my Aunt Marcia taught me was that the dreamiest man in the entire world was Kevin Bacon. Now that is a gift that keeps giving, because thankfully time has been kind to him. Now, during our many hours of watching Footloose, we would practice the dance moves. I have one of my favorite memories of us, dancing, and her shorts got a little, and she said, hold up, pause the movie, fixed the shorts, resettled everything, back to dancing. And I do that today. Another lesson that my aunt taught me was about the value of a very nicely written letter, as she would often write to the Kevin Bacon fan club and would generously share her correspondence paper with me, although mostly all I was writing was scribble. Sadly, after 6 short years together, my aunt's health began to decline. Like many people with Down syndrome, she had a heart defect that eventually caused her to pass. However short, her presence made a deep and lasting impact on my life, and I knew that I was meant to be in a profession where I could help other people. I went to school and eventually ended up in Macon 7 years ago, leading a chapter of the ARC, the very same organization that helped change the trajectory of my aunt's life. My first day on the job, they had a huge membership meeting to welcome me into the organization. There were over 100 people there. And after all the festivities concluded, and everyone was leaving, I saw across the room there was this short Spanish woman that beelined it for me. She had a very serious look on her face. And I was like, I don't know what I'm in for, but I'm bracing myself. And so this woman walks up to me, gets very close to my face, and says very seriously, "Do you have a husband and can I meet him?" I panicked, of course, and I'm like, I haven't even been in Georgia a week and someone's already trying to marry me off. But I said, no, I don't. And this look of calm washed over her face, and she put her arm in my arm and she said, "That's all right, we'll find him together. Let's go get a Coke." Now, Mary Lou had these long, beautiful painted fingernails that perfectly matched her outfit and her jewelry. She was very put together. She had this salt and pepper hair, and she had these crooked teeth with this beautiful smile that usually did have a little bit of lipstick on the teeth. But she was so proud of being able to do her makeup herself and take care of herself, and that no one had to help her. Similar to my aunt, Mary Lou was given a very bleak prognosis when she was born. When I met Mary Lou, she was in her 50s and was not accepted and really supported the way that my aunt was until later in life when she went into services with an agency. But once she got that support, she absolutely thrived. Now, Mary Lou was the kind of person that did not take anything for granted. And one of those things that she didn't take for granted, and in fact she loved, which I thought she was crazy for, was laundry. Laundry day was her favorite day. Her possessions were in such pristine condition. And it was always, anytime you go to Mary Lou's room, she could tell if you mess with anything, because she had everything in a certain place and it was always perfectly placed. Now, Mary Lou was also one of those people where she knew how to fix a bad day. Not only would she smile, but she would generously offer you one of her delicious Coca-Colas. Now, you know that she could tell you were having a bad day if she offered up one of those, because she loved those Coca-Colas. Sadly, Mary Lou's health began to decline, and she had a significant health issue where she actually lost the ability to swallow. And we were talking with the doctors, and the doctor said, she really doesn't have that much of quality of life anyway. I think you should just put her on hospice and say your goodbyes and and I was furious. I was shocked. I thought, how can these health professionals not see the value of life of someone who brings so much joy into the lives of others? And so I got my shit together and I called her sister and I came up with a plan. We were going to help these health professionals understand that Mary Lou not only had quality of life, but there was value in her life. So with much advocacy and a little bit of slamming on desks, they listened and they installed the feeding tube. And I'm proud to say that Mary Lou went on to live another amazing 5 years. She was even able to get off of that feeding tube and once again enjoy the taste of a delicious Coca-Cola right out of the can. I still occasionally hear from Mary Lou's sister thanking me for that time with her sister and the fact that this passion that I learned from my grandparents and my aunt has been able to save at least one life, extend it. And it's given me the passion to continue on to fight for health equity, especially for those with disabilities and who are looked at as not worth saving. Today I get to work with a lot of just amazing advocates who are full of empathy, compassion, and understand the value of life. And so in closing, I want to thank my aunt, that sweet Aunt Marcia, my grandparents, and I want to thank them because I appreciate life, and this is the gift that keeps on giving. So thank you.